Hey gamers, and welcome to another episode of the EXL podcast. With me today, I have two affiliate members of the EXL Gaming Network, Aussie Gamer
Hey, Bella.
and Firebot.
How's it going, peeps? How's it going?
Today, we're going to discuss some of the things that we're anticipating most, and also some of the big pieces of news that have come out earlier today, which include Bethesda accidentally leaking news about Dishonored 2. And I think we lagged out a little bit there, but we seem to be back.
Yeah.
No Scalebound, Crackdown, or Quantum Break at E3. Capcom says no to Street Fighter V ever seeing the light of day on Xbox One. And some of our predictions and anticipations for E3. So let's get straight into the good stuff. So Bethesda held a practice Twitch screen earlier today in preparation for their press conference at E3 tomorrow. Now, unfortunately, what they should have chosen to do is maybe discuss the contents of their presentation separately to the day that they decided they were going to do a test Twitch screen. So normally this wouldn't be such a big deal except for the fact that they were actually talking about the announcement of Dishonored 2 at a really inopportune time. Now, I listened to the audio that was captured and they were clearly unaware that they were broadcasting, which is actually kind of funny. So what's your feelings about this, Org?
Yeah, look, they were talking in, I guess, French and English, which is pretty interesting because I'm not 100% sure, obviously, what they were saying in French, but it does seem like a bit of an amateur little glitch, so I'm not sure if it was deliberate and just set out there to take us off the path or if it was a genuine accident, but from what I can tell, it does seem to be a genuine accident. Do you reckon that sounds about right?
Yeah. I don't know. Look, sorry, no, I don't believe it. I mean, it always comes around E3. Oh, we accidentally leaked this. Oh, we accidentally leaked that. I mean, thank Christ some of these people working for intelligence of the CIA or Australia because they'd be leaking everything, if you know what I mean. It's like, oh, whoops, if we're accidentally streaming it? No, I don't believe it for 1 minute. It's just too much of a coincidence. That's all I'm saying.
One thing's for sure, I mean, if it is true, it's going to be huge. I think the demand for a Dishonored 2 is absolutely massive. So if they're starting to get that hype train out there already, then I think they've done a good job by seeding it into the community. I mean, people are already going nuts on, just some audio playing in the background. So that's pretty interesting.
Well, it's cheap advertising, that's for sure.
Pretty amazed. Yeah, and I think that this is something I was going to bring up later on, but we might as well discuss it now. Like, I think a lot of these leaks that are coming out earlier in the last 3 or 4 days are literally on purpose because people, they want to build our anticipation for these individual press conferences. So they want us to think, oh, wow, I'm going to get news about this or I'm going to get news about that. I better tune in.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, the other thing, a lot of it is on purpose.
Look, the other thing that was really interesting is the tweet that Bethesda put out there to say that the Twitch tests was a success, so tune in tomorrow. So who was monitoring that Twitch stream in order to call it a success? Because clearly, if it was an accident, then it wasn't quite a success. Someone clearly stuffed up.
Yeah, well, I can give you an example. The leaked Gears of War remastered video, that was definitely a mistake, and look how quickly they got rid of that off the internet. This one, whoa, I think more people want to see Dishonored 2. I hate to say it, but they do. It wasn't a mistake. They did it on purpose. It's free advertising. It's what they do always around E3. It always seems to be around E3, never any other time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're looking at several hours later after this has happened, and that audio piece is still up on YouTube. It hasn't been pulled down or flagged.
Oh, yeah, geez. Whoops. Let's leave it up. Let's leave it up for a couple, 2 days.
Well, it's like, what are we at now? We're at 18 hours? No, more. We're at like 17, 18 hours until Bethesda's actual announcement anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, plus it's the week. Probably not even worth their time. Look, and let's assume that there is a Dishonored 2 coming. Who's keen? I know I am. I think it'd be pretty awesome.
I've never played Dishonored 1. I've never played Dishonored 1. Was it good?
Oh,
I
yeah,
enjoyed it. I probably could have been done better, but I enjoyed it.
What I'm really keen to see, particularly with these new games coming from the previous generation to this generation is exactly what level of improvement that these studios are going to make. So, because I just don't want just the same old, same old. I want something that looks pretty damn sensational. So as long as that's there and the story's compelling, then I'm in.
No, I don't know. Look, as I said, I'm not really that excited. I mean, it's a leaked information. I didn't get into the first Dishonored, and I don't think I'm really going to be rushing out to buy the second Dishonored.
Yeah, fair point.
That's just how.
That's why they need to start early to get you convinced. Wybot.
Well,
exactly right.
It's going to take a hell of a lot for me to get convinced, mate. That's all I can say. Unless it's Gears of War or I am Bread. I am not interested in any other game other than those. Star Wars Battlefront, maybe, but nah. You know what I'm saying, man? Nah, come on.
I do. No, good call.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, so along with the announcement that Xbox has partnered with Oculus, also came a press release from Phil Spencer. Now, I had a good read through this, and I was amazed to see that in closing off, Phil mentions that Scalebound, Crackdown, and Quantum Break will not be making an appearance at E3. Instead, they're going to be held back to be showcased at Gamescom in August, along with Xbox One and Windows 10 reveals. Now, look, that sounds great. Don't get me wrong. Wow, I was surprised to hear that they're holding off on Scalebound. But, I can see that they need to have something to showcase there. But it's been years since we first saw the original trailer for Scalebound at E3 last year, and now we have to wait even longer for another look. I mean, why do you think that they've chosen to hold off on such titles like this?
Look, I'm personally hoping it's because they just have this massive catalogue of information to talk about, whether that be games or Windows 10 or DirectX 12, and that they just need to hold something in reserve to make Gamescom a little bit special, particularly because Sony's obviously not going to be there. But again, it's Microsoft coming out and really hyping this E3. So without those 3 games and I'm not really clear on what exactly they're going to have. I know they've got a few other bits and pieces that they can clearly talk about, but they really need to bring something special, and I hope they pull a couple of surprises out of the bag as well.
Yeah, I'm with you, Aussie Gamer, on this one. They've got, like Phil Spencer said at E3, he's got so many games lined up, the most games lined up they've had in ages. They want to bring it again for Gamescom because, they've got to bring it this year. They've got to really wow people. They didn't wow too many people last year. It was an improvement from the year before. But Microsoft really, really, really want to keep it coming each year and get better and better every year. And when you got something like Phil Spencer saying that, he's not going to let people down. Not to mention, I think they will be focusing. I've just got a feeling they'll be focusing a fair bit on Windows 10 and DirectX 12, particularly Windows 10 for the whole streaming service. And let's not forget they just mentioned the Oculus Rift attachment and all that kind of bourgeois the other day as well. So, I mean, this is before E3, and they're even throwing out this stuff and information out, particularly Halo 5. Man, it's going to be huge. This E3 is going to be enormous.
What's your take on the Oculus Rift, Wybot? Because from my point of view, it feels like a little bit of sandbagging from Microsoft, because clearly they're not in the VR space. But this kind of just gets them prepared, perhaps not for the Xbox One, but at some stage in the near future to take advantage of a VR device.
I think you're right there. I think it's just to coincide with their attachment for their HoloLens as well as their Windows 10. I think they're really going to push, and this is where people got to wake up themselves. This whole idea of console and PC war thing, I think Xbox are trying to close the gap on both those systems with Windows 10. And it's going to take 2 to 3 years, but you'll notice before you know you'll be playing against PC players in Xbox One and PC players against Xbox One players. And the Oculus Rift and things like that will help with that. They'll make that process move, and they're promised to do that. So it's all streaming, and we'll just see how it goes, I guess. But then for us Australians here, how shocking our internet is, maybe we shouldn't get so excited as well. This is more for countries with great internet. But look, I think it's just Microsoft has got more money than they know what to do with, so they thought they'll put more money into VR and see how they go, I guess. I think that might be the future.
Yeah, I must admit.
I think it's just a starting point. I think that this is just a starting point for them. This is just where they're going to begin with it. I mean, a lot of people are complaining about the fact that they now realize to use that, they also have to have a PC. You can't just have an Xbox and Oculus. You have to have a PC to be able to use the 3 together.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people are a bit hesitant about the whole concept, and they think that it's a little bit too difficult or time-consuming or whatever. But this is just their starting point, you know. This will evolve. This will improve.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
all
that's exactly right. It's a starting point. I think it's basically just putting that toe in the water and just seeing exactly what happens with VR. So at the very least, if it does go nuts and take off, they can say, "Oh, well, we've got the Oculus Rift, and we can take advantage of that at some future point in time."
Yeah.
well, they're just putting money into gaming. Emphasis on that, and money into gaming.
Absolutely.
I think that's what a
Yeah.
lot of people and fanboys base are forgetting is regardless of sales or whatever, Microsoft are putting money into gaming. You can't deny that. And if you do deny that, go outside and headbutt a wall because it's right there in the writing. So
I'd like to put a disclaimer in here. Please do not go outside and headbutt a wall. Thank you.
I would like to put a
Absolutely.
disclaimer in here. If you don't believe what I just said, go outside and headbutt a wall. I'm sorry, Bella, but people need to wake up. We need to stop being nice. The writing is on the wall. I'm sick and tired of sales and people talking about sales. I want to hear what they're doing with those sales, and I want to hear where the money's going, and I want to see games. I want to see good games and promising gaming platforms, and the platforms that we've spent money and time to get are going to be with us for the next 2 or 3 years before upgrading. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, fair
Yeah,
call.
well, I mean, that's the thing. Where is it going? I mean, apparently PS4 was meant to be the best thing since sliced bread. See what I did there?
Yeah, I like the segue.
Bread. Yeah. So have you all seen the game I Am Bread that is, a exclusive on PlayStation 4?
Sorry.
Like, I watched it today. So I was actually on the phone, Toby, while I was watching this. And I literally, I had a smile so big on my face while I was watching this. Not because I was enjoying it, but because it was such a train wreck and it was so entertaining. I couldn't help myself. I just could not believe what I was seeing.
Have you seen it, Ozgamer?
I've heard of it. I've seen a little bit from the mainstream media outlets, but go walk me through it, Wybot. What the hell is this all about? I Am Bread.
Well, okay, pretty much you start off as a piece of bread off a loaf and you slice and you move around, you get on the plate. You can even ride a skateboard. I just stopped watching it when I thought to myself, this is what greatness is all about. This is what the ultimate powerful 1080p 60 frames per second console is all about. And that's their exclusive when their fans are screaming out for AAA exclusives. Which both consoles need at either end. I mean, PC, it doesn't matter either way because you can make your own, and PCs eventually get them anyway. But I'm just stunned. It's just a piece of bread, and that's what you are. You move this piece of bread around, you get on the plate, you can get it, I don't know, jam on it, whatever. I've saw one bit you can get on a skateboard, and I think, what's the point of that? I mean, you're probably better off making a game. I Am Dog Shit. I Am Dog Shit is probably a better game you could make. There'd be a lot more of those simulation. Sorry, it's a big crash.
To put it into a bit more context, you know the game Octodad, right?
Yeah.
And the movements of Octodad, where everybody's sort of controlling one leg and that kind of thing. The bread is the same thing. It has 4 points on the bread that can be controlled, and so you got to flip it over one way and flip it over another way to move the piece of bread, and then flip it off the table onto the floor, and then crawl it along the ground, and then crawl it up a wall, and if you don't do it the right way, you fall all the way back down again, so then you got to get all the way back up there. And all the while, the dirty footprints on the floor and the ants that are on the table and stuff like that you're collecting on your bread lowers down your edibility scale. So
awesome.
By the time you get to the toaster to actually toast your piece of bread, the score is based off how edible that piece of bread still is by the time it gets there.
I found a one-sentence summary for those people who don't know. It says, I Am Bread tells the story of one slice of bread's epic and emotional journey as it embarks upon a quest to become toasted. I think to me that just really sums it all up.
I mean, could you seriously go out to E3 and announce that to millions of people that that's an exclusive on PlayStation 4? And then be stunned if people told you to get off stage. I mean, really, this is what gets me. If Microsoft did this, right, let's be honest here, you'd never hear the end of it. But because Sony did, nobody talks about it. None of the real Microsoft critics come out and have a go at this Iron Bread. But you just don't hear about it. But if Microsoft endorsed a game like this, people would just go nuts on the internet. But no, since Sony's done it, nobody says a thing. It's absolutely disgusting that this game exists in the first place. I'm sorry whoever made it, but what? How? Where? Why? It's bread for crying out loud.
Hey,
It
mustn't be too bad. It mustn't be too bad. Look, it's been rated a 5 out of 10. Now, if I remember correctly, the order was about a 6 out of 10, right? So it's right up there with the order. It's not bad at all.
Wow.
The order gets almost beaten by a piece of bread.
Oh my god.
Actually, I'm probably being too harsh. I didn't mind the order. I thought it was one of the greatest movies I ever played.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It's better than Jurassic World. I'll give it that. It's got a bit of script. You can have popcorn and play this game. But by gosh, at least you're not a piece of bread trying to get onto a toaster. Like, oh, I just don't get it. I
think we spent too much time talking about bread. I'm hungry.
I think we have. While we were on the subject of things that should and shouldn't cost money, Capcom have really gotten into bed with Sony, since we're on the subject of Sony, when it comes to Street Fighter V. They have come out today saying, basically in a nutshell, that they will not change their current agreement with Sony to cater for Xbox One, and that basically we might as well give up all hope, as that's just not a change. Now, personally, I'm not too bothered by that, as Xbox One has Killer Instinct. We can also play Mortal Kombat, Dead or Alive. We've got Tekken on the way. So that genre is completely full. But, it would have been nice to see Street Fighter V, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be crying any tears over it. I mean, do you guys think that they'll stick to their guns on this one, given the financial security issues that Sony are facing? Will they be loyal, or will they just do what most others do and go where the money is?
Yeah, look, I actually think that they'll stick to their guns, but whether we see a Street Fighter 5.1 Ultimate Street Fighter Edition with extra characters come to the Xbox, who knows? That's where it probably gets a bit grey and a bit tricky, but look, this is where Sony's at the moment. They're definitely pumping all that third-party support, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're sitting on the mountain of cash with their Street Fighter deal and just basically run this one out, and we'll see another Street Fighter 6 in the not too distant future that becomes probably a multi-plat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they're sticking to their guns. And look, I think it's great for Sony, to be honest. I really do. I think it's great because it's about time Sony had their own little, platforming and fighter game like that. Street Fighter is iconic, and I think it's great for Sony. I really am. And to be honest, between the two controls to use in a fighting game, particularly Street Fighter, give me the PlayStation 4 controller of the Xbox One. Just because, the two sticks are out of the way. If you catch my drift, you can use the D-pad more. That's that's a fighting noob speaking there. So good on Sony, good deal, and good to see. That's good for the people that bought the PlayStation 4. They should do a little bit more stuff like that.
I agree, and I think with Killer Instinct doing so well on the Xbox One, I think Sony really needed something in that space that they could call exclusively their own. Because I think Killer Instinct is really gaining momentum, and they're really driving home some innovation in that category. And I just think Sony and the Sony fans were probably missing out on something just like a Killer Instinct. So it was probably a gap Sony needed to fill. So good on them.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people see Killer Instinct and go, wow, the graphics that are great. And a lot of people don't know about gaming. They say that must be on the PlayStation 4 because it looks so good. And it's like, nah, it's actually Xbox One. But going back to Street Fighter, Street Fighter is probably one of the best fighters out there. So good on Sony.
Yeah. I have no issues with it staying on Sony whatsoever. I mean, if that was a game that was so important to me, then I need to just go buy a PlayStation and not complain about it not being on Xbox.
Exactly.
Same as those people who complain about all the things like, Gears of War that are exclusively on Xbox. If you want to play it, get an Xbox. If I want to play Street Fighter, I'll get a PlayStation.
Exactly. That's as simple as that. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Do we think it's a system seller for Sony? I've got to say probably not.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. There's no way that is Sony's killer app. Absolutely not.
There is a bit of a competitive scene, though, with Street Fighter, right?
There is. It's alive and well. It does very, very well. But, I wouldn't say it's a console seller. But, you just don't know. I guess you just don't know. You have to look at the sales when it comes out, I guess.
Yeah.
See how well it does. I reckon it's going to do very, very well. I'll be tempted to get it myself, for sure.
Awesome. Well, of course, because you've got a PlayStation 4, right?
I certainly do. I'm a console-friendly person. I play on all platforms, if you know what I mean. Woohoo!
Look,
Yes, you are.
I've got a PS4 too. I still haven't, and this is criminal, I know, but I still haven't taken Mortal Kombat out of the plastic. I'll get to it, but it's probably not that category or that genre of game that's doing it for me at the moment, particularly with really engrossing games like The Witcher.
I don't know. That's probably because you haven't played Mortal Kombat on the Xbox One with me and had your ass handed to you yet.
That's probably about right.
Yeah.
Fear and intimidation.
Yeah. Nah, I'm not the same as you. I'm into I got Mortal Kombat for the Xbox One. I got it pretty cheap, but I'm more into multiplayer at the moment, not fighting games. So I'm addicted to that. But yeah, I should play more of the PlayStation 4. That's for sure. I should play more of it.
Yeah. All right. So while we're on that subject, I wasn't going to bring this up, but since we got onto the subject matter of exclusivity, this is something that's really been bugging me for a while now. And when I say a while, probably like at least the last couple of years, I've really started to think about this and why I think it's completely and utterly unfair. So this exclusive rights that Xbox have had to the DLC for Black Ops, sorry, not just Black Ops, but Call of Duty.
Cool.
I don't think that should ever be a thing. Like the person who walks into the store next to me that's buying it on PlayStation and I'm buying it on Xbox, we're going to fork over the identical amount of money. And we're both going to walk out of the store with the exact same game and go home and probably spend the exact same amount of time installing it, only for the guy on PS4 or PS3 to find out that every single time that a DLC map comes out on the season pass that he paid the exact same amount of money that I paid for, he's going to have to wait a month to get. Yeah. I don't think that is acceptable. I understand why they do this exclusive stuff to try and pull more people over to one console or another, but as developers and as publishers, I really think it's time that they have a good hard look at this system and realize that all it's doing is hurting half of the community that's playing the game. It's making them despise the franchise.
I don't think I'd ever despise Call of Duty. I love it. It's probably my default game. I always go to it. But what annoys me about the DLC is if you're on Sony, we know that another Call of Duty is coming out in about a year's time. So that's 12 months worth of value we get out of a game. If you get the DLC late, the next game still comes out at that 12-month mark. So you've only had 11 months worth of DLC versus the guy on the Xbox One who's had the full 12 months of DLC.
Yeah.
So that's what,
I did not view it that way. That's a valid point. Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's really the only thing that annoys me about it. Like, I don't care about customizable characters or an exclusive Batman suit or something like that. That sort of DLC I've got no issue with. But when it comes to restricting content for a period of time, that's probably something that gets my goat up a little bit too, because I think it just limits the timeliness of a game for the person who's getting that DLC second. So that's just my take on it anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just think that it's unnecessary. I understand why they do it. I see the thought process behind it. But I think that it's utterly unfair. And so we're 1.5 days away from where we're actually going to find out whether all of these rumors are true about whether the marketing rights have gone across to PlayStation for Call of Duty or whether they're going to stay with Xbox. I really hope that what we find out is neither. I hope we find out that they're abolishing that bullshit system and that everybody who pays the exact amount of dollars gets the exact same service.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that was Microsoft to start up that shady deal, which to help with the sales of the 360. I agree with you, and I think it's the way to go for sure. Absolutely, they've got to just say we both get at the same time because Battlefield 4 is the same, isn't it? Battlefield and all those games, they get the DLC same day as everybody else.
Exactly, and if you're going to penalise me or Bob, who happens to buy it on PlayStation, whoever.
Yeah.
for not buying it on a platform that happens to have this exclusive deal, and therefore I am going to be, I guess, for lack of a better term, like suffering to that degree, then I should be able to buy that game cheaper. I should not have to pay $100 to go and buy a game where I'm going to get my DLC 1 month later than everybody else and have 1 month less time to enjoy it than everybody else on the other competing platform.
Yeah, I agree. Could not agree more. Could not agree more. But like I said, I don't care if Sony come out and have some sort of special or exclusive gun or something that's only available on the PlayStation. But conversely, I'd want to see something on the Xbox One. Maybe a Halo skin or something for Call of Duty. That'll never happen.
Yeah.
But,
Conversely, that's a great word. You don't get to use that often enough.
Well, the other thing is too, you can get like a Killzone or an Uncharted outlook for the PlayStation 4, and like he just says, where's maybe a Halo or something else, or even a Gears thing for the Xbox One. And that's what they should do instead of either, because I think Sony gets the Destiny DLC a month before we do, and things like that, and they got an exclusive map. I think that's a good deal. I wasn't upset about that. It's good that the Sony PlayStation 4 got a separate, map that we can't get on the Xbox One. That wasn't too much of a shady deal, but yeah, I think it's very wrong. I think Activision should try and stop encouraging that kind of behaviour as well. But then again, who am I to say that? Because I'm not getting millions of money thrown at me from either of these companies. So
well, and that's really the crux of it too, right? It's all about business and dollars, and Sony's in a position where they need this generation to be successful for them because it's probably the only division in their company that's actually going well. So they need to continue that momentum, that's for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the E3 component. Games that we are most excited for.
News. Well, hang on. Before you get into the games, the big news about E3 is clearly none of us are going to be there, so that's a bit sad.
I could have been there. And interviewing Body Russ from 343. It's just, why did you have to bring that up? You just like rubbing salt in wounds, don't you? You're an asshole.
Well, it doesn't look being at E3 unless it's I Am Bread 2 or Gears of War. I really couldn't care what other games are there. That's pretty much it. So, I would have been interviewing every developer saying, do you know anything about Gears? If you don't, get out of my way. Get out of my way. Can we have some real game developers here, please? I mean, none of these noobs. That's what I'd be saying. So it's probably good I'm not going.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, which of you two would like to list your top 5 games that you're most excited to hear news for at E3?
Let's see how we go. I'll give it a crack. I think from a top 5, before I get into a top 5, the most interesting thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is this newly developed battle between the Lara Croft series, the new Lara Croft game, and Uncharted. So we've got Microsoft versus Sony, Xbox versus PlayStation. Now we've got Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake.
Why not, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Booze versus Pecs. That's what we've got.
Yeah,
Booze versus Pecs.
That's right. So there is a game I'm absolutely looking forward to. The new Lara Croft, I think that'll be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's in my top 5.
I won't steal anyone's thunder for Gears of War because I know that Ybot will want to talk about that one. But Halo 5, absolutely. The new Call of Duty will be absolutely sensational. Forza 6, what they're doing with that game looks absolutely phenomenal. I know we're not getting a lot about Scalebound or Crackdown, but something on that. A wild prediction, I'd love to see a Last of Us 2 announced. I actually love The Last of Us on the PlayStation, so I don't think we'll see it at this E3, but just something, a glimmer of hope there would be pretty awesome. And that probably rounds out my sort of top 5. There's a whole heap of stuff in there that you could throw in, but I really want to see Microsoft show up and deliver the promise of games. And I think the other thing that's curious for me is Sony could be all about surprises this year. So everyone has low expectations on what Sony may or may not deliver, but they can pull a rabbit out of the hat here and just deliver something special. Who knows?
They could.
All right, look, yeah. All right, do you want to hear my top 5?
Go for it.
All right, Gears of War 4. Definitely want to see some gameplay footage, and I want to see some news on it and a bit of hint of what the story is. Number 2, Gears of War Remaster. I definitely want to see that, and I think if Microsoft really want to seal a deal, say it's for free, anybody who bought the Xbox One on day one, I think that would just blow everybody out of the water.
And have Phil Spencer go, it's available now.
And I think they can afford to do so. I really could. Those two will be definitely, but The Division, I like to see gameplay of The Division and see where that's up. Definitely Unreal Tournament, the next Unreal Tournament. I want to see what that's going to be like. See, a lot of people don't realise that's going to be the first game they're going to trial where PC players play against console players, and I don't care what you say, that was the first real first-person shooter up there with Quake and all the others. That's where it's at. And I definitely want to see some multiplayer and footage of Black Ops 3 because unlike GameSpot, that is a big anticipation. That's a console seller, and it's gonna. And I'm not a COD-based person, but that is a bloody game that's gonna do well. And I think, just for anybody to not put it on their list whatsoever and say it's not anticipated for, really needs to go forward out and headbutt a brick, like I said in my video.
Just go and headbutt a wall like the previous people who didn't agree with your other statement.
Well, they're all going to have to do it because they all should be commenting on video games or anything like that. But and like Ozgamer said, I could say so many other things, but I think going back to Sony, I wouldn't rule them out. I would like to see them not talk about sales. I'd like to see them talk about games and give us game footage, not ads. Have you noticed that a lot of their E3 and a lot of their presentations have them talking about sales and pretty much CGI ads? It's like watching a McDonald's franchise bid. That's what it's like. It's just show us some actual gameplay. Don't talk about sales. We don't need to hear about sales. Your fans tell us about your sales every day. We just want to see a game, what you've got coming up, and that's what I want to hear. Because if you don't, you people are going to be back down to the lower levels. You're going to do well.
If you're on Twitter, you're fully truly well across what the sales are like at the moment.
Every day. You don't even have to look at the Sony shares. You just go on Twitter and listen to their fan base. I'll tell you, they'll keep you posted every day. So we know their sales are good, but I just want to see some actual gameplay, no ads, because that just bores me. We can get ads from anywhere. Just actual gameplay and what they're going to bring, and go from there. I know they've got the capabilities. Let's just hope they're doing it.
Agreed. All right, so my top 5, which, there's no many surprises in here for anybody who knows me, and these aren't in any particular order. Gears of War, Tomb Raider, Black Ops 3, Halo 5, and Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah. Most of those games you'd rate, as like day one purchases. Just based on what we've seen so far, and that's not a lot.
Yeah, and look, I'm probably well off the mark, but I'm fully expecting, and for anybody who's a big Gears of War fan, make sure you've got some space available on your Xbox One prior to the Microsoft announcement at E3, because I fully expect that they're going to say, here's our actual announcement about Gears of War Remastered, and it is available to download now.
Yeah, that's
well,
kind of
if that's
the
case,
megaton, isn't it?
If that's the case, Bill, could you ring me up and wake me up so I can download it straight away before I go to work? Thank you.
Yeah, I will. I will. I mean, it will break the internet, but yeah.
But there's so many games I'm missing out on.
That day. Go on, sorry.
That's all right. I was saying games like the new Star Wars game, for EA. The new reboot, let's hope it's a reboot of Assassin's Creed, going to London. That looks pretty awesome.
Yes, Elizabethan time, I think it is, isn't it? Elizabethan?
Yeah, the guys at LEGO doing everything. They're, having a crack at Minecraft now. That looks phenomenal if you're a 6-year-old. There's just so much out there.
But they just released Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park?
Yeah, it's available now. Jurassic Park, LEGO, available now to download.
Absolutely. They're also having a crack at the Disney Infinity and the Skylanders crew with that other sort of buildable Lego. I can't even remember what that's called now, but that looks pretty phenomenal as well. So they're having a go at just about everybody.
And why not?
Absolutely.
Why not?
So there's so much stuff. And then there's indies.
Yes,
Indies
wasn't
Oh
galore.
my god, yes.
And that
Alright,
stuff's
so
really unpredictable.
while we're on the subject matter of indies, who's going to have more indies on their list? Sony or Microsoft?
Ooh,
I think
I reckon the
this is
Sony list
tricky.
is going to be longer than the Microsoft list. This is my prediction.
Yeah, but then again, there's always that one surprising one in there. And I mean, like I said, there could be Iron Bread 2. There was the Grass Simulator from 2 years ago. Now, I shouldn't say that because as much as we like to knock it here and there, it is good that they're actually promoting indies and indie games. So, I don't know, I shouldn't be so negative towards it, but when
it's
you see
great.
stuff like Iron Bread, you really do get jilted. I'm sorry, but other than that, I think, yeah, I'd like to see some good indies, but I think Sony's going to win that one for sure. And they've said that from the get-go. They've always said that from the get-go. They're going to have more and more indies. So
I kind of disagree. I think the guys at ID at Xbox have really got their shite together, and I think it'll probably be 50-50 between Microsoft and Sony for the indies department. I think it'll be interesting to see what Sony do with their indies, because we've got a game like No Man's Sky, which I would have traditionally put in the indie space, now seems to be being skewed or pushed towards that that AA or AAA space for Sony, in light of the fact that they don't have a lot of else that they can really call on. So interesting.
Oh, No Man's Sky is becoming as infamous as bloody The Last Guardian.
It's kind of it may be the order repeating itself though. So if it doesn't live up to the hype, I think a lot of people are going to be pretty pissed.
Yeah, you reckon?
No, the order was great. It had great multiplayer and replay. Oh no, it didn't. Wrong game. No, it's just. I think The Last Guardian. I think shout out to Iron Wolf when it looked like a possum. I have to say that was very funny when he said it looks like a possum, because they should have it possum. Because I've got possums in my house. I can tell you, man, they're more dangerous than what I saw in The Last Guardian. So we should have like I Am Possum. That'd be an awesome indie game. That'd be unreal. What do you reckon, Wes? I reckon we'd go for that one for sure.
I Am Possum.
Yeah, I Am Possum. That'd be awesome. I'd buy that.
It would be. And then there's like, in the indie section of surprise announcements on PlayStation, we could maybe have DLC for I Am Bread announced, which is like lactose-free I Am Butter and get your jam on.
Oh my god. We should be marketing for Sony. I'd be great for marketing Sony. And here's why I want to present you the DLC for Iron Bread. It's called Spread 'em, people. Called Spread 'em. And you've got a special Vegemite for the Australian fans down there. I mean, I would buy for the Vegemite, though. I would. Just saying.
Just while we're, I guess, heaping the crap onto Sony at the moment. Ready at Dawn, we've heard that Sony have kicked those guys out. Now, obviously, they're the creators of the Order 1886. So do you think there would be any chance that the Order 1886 or 87 would come to the Xbox One in the future?
Oh, well, I can tell you now, if it did and it had multiplayer and it had similar game mechanics, there would be a future for that game big time. I will tell you that now.
They got rid of the black bars and all that sort of stuff. They fixed it up.
And get rid of the movie sequence, because, well, unless they did a deal with Hoyts, which is a cinema franchise down here in Australia, in case you don't know, folks. But if they could cut down the cutscenes and add more of the gameplay, which was pretty good, and the graphics were amazing, and they still are, I think it's a beautiful game. If you own a PlayStation 4, please do buy it. It's going cheap. I'm not kidding. I've been serious there. But if it comes to the Xbox One, it has multiplayer facets to it, I think it'd be a humdinger of a game. That's just, I said that from the get-go. I said that I liked it when I play it. I liked the mechanics, and if it played multiplayer, it'd be great. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, there you go. Maybe we should work for Sony.
Well, I would like to see a more structured version of the game released, especially something that you didn't walk away feeling like you just, literally sat back with a box of popcorn and occasionally had to interact.
Yeah, look, I think there were clearly elements that let it down, but what you want is for people to learn and come back with something, because the last thing we want is just rinse and repeat titles. We do want innovation and people to have a crack. So I'm more supportive of the Order, but I want, if they do produce an Order 1886 2.0 or whatever it is, that they take community feedback and they improve the game, because it's got some fundamentals there which are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I think it does. I think it's great. Everybody likes looking at a picture with nothing on the back of it and no point of doing it in a video game. And I thought they did it. They nailed it. That feature was fantastic. Just think they should have more to it. That's all.
Yep, fair call.
Fair enough. All right, so unless there's anything else that you gentlemen are anticipating out of E3 or that you've heard about that you'd like to bring up, you might wrap up.
I'm just going to say this now. I think this is the most exciting E3, even more exciting than the announcement of the new consoles. I hope that the people that win at the end of the E3 is us gamers on all platforms.
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer in competition makes games cheaper, and the only reason we're getting cheap games and updates from Microsoft is because Sony did very well with their launch of their console. They played it very well, and I hope they continue to do so because me as a gamer, I'm getting so many new games like Smite for free, ODST and something else. It's just unbelievable. There's so many free games I'm getting, and competition is good, people. Competition is good. So that's what I've got to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Some of the things that I'm really keen on seeing, which might disappoint a lot of people, but I do want to see a little bit more about Windows 10 and what impact that's going to have on the Xbox One. I think the Xbox One is probably due for a user interface update. Hopefully something comes with Windows 10 on that. I do want to see DirectX 12. We've been hearing, that this is the second coming of Christ for the Xbox One, but yes. I think, let's show us some action on it. I want to see what percentage it's actually going to make a difference on. So hopefully it's the new Gears of War game that they really showcase DirectX 12 onto the Xbox One. I think that'd be awesome.
Definitely.
And
They need to. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We've been hearing about it. I've heard the hype. I want to see it, or put up or shut up at this point. I think. VR, I want to see if that's a real thing. So, Sony's touting it as something that they've got with Project Morpheus. I want to see it. Again, put up or shut up. And I think this is probably the year that they highlight Project Morpheus and what it will do, hopefully, for the PlayStation. Beyond that, Microsoft, show me games. And I'm predicting a couple of surprises from Sony. And I think we all agree, Nintendo... Who knows what the hell Nintendo are going to do?
Well, they did announce that they have a whole heap of third-party partnerships lined up that they're going to be announcing at their press conference, so that will be interesting.
Yeah, agree.
Ah, there you go.
Awesome. Well, EXL Gaming will be covering all E3 news and updates, so for anybody who wants to stay up to date in real time, make sure that you go and check out www.exlgaming.com. Add that to your favorites, and you'll get all of the updates in real time throughout E3. Saves you having to filter through Twitter. Well, look, thank you guys for joining me today, and yeah, E3, bring it on.
Beautiful. Look, if you're watching this in America, please understand that when we watch the Microsoft conference, it'll be 2:30 a.m. in the morning here, so well done, Bella. Your commitment to gaming is unquestionable. Well done.
Like pretty much every single press conference is at like 2:33 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to be a zombie by the end of these 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, even more reason for you to go and check out excelgaming.com.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry. When I have my nice little sleep in.
I've got a bookmark.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much for joining me, you two, and thank you to everybody who tuned in. Have a great day, guys, and bring on E3.
Thank you.